Okay, good morning everyone. My name is Sergeant Paul Maneg with the Manitoba RCMP. Je suis Sergent Paul Maneg avec la GRC du Manitoba. We acknowledge we are gathered on Treaty 1 territory and that Manitoba is located on the treaty territories and ancestral lands of the Anishinaabe, Anishinaabe, Dakota, Dene, and Netho nations. That Manitoba is located on the homeland of the Red River Métis, and northern Manitoba includes lands that were and are the ancestral lands of the Inuit. We respect the spirit and intent of treaties and treaty making and remain committed to working in partnership with First Nations, Métis, and Inuit people in the spirit of truth, reconciliation, and collaboration. Nous reconnaissons que nous sommes rassemblés sur le territoire du traité numéro 1 et que le Manitoba est situé sur les territoires visés par les traités et les terres ancestrales de diverses nations, à savoir les Anishinaabe, les Anishinaabe, les Dakota, les Dene et les Netho nations. Nous reconnaissons que le Manitoba est situé sur la terre natale de la nation métisse de la Rivière-Rouge et que le nord du Manitoba comprend le territoire qui était et demeure le territoire ancestral des Inuits. Nous respectons l'esprit et l'intention des traités et de leur élaboration et nous engageons à travailler en partenariat avec les Premières Nations, les Métis et les Inuits dans un esprit de vérité, de réconciliation et de collaboration. Thank you for all coming today. With me today is Inspector Sean Pike from our Manitoba RCMP Major Crime Services. I'd also like to acknowledge that Portage-la Prairie Mayor Sherilyn Knox is with us as well today. Je suis accompagné aujourd'hui par l'inspecteur Sean Pike du Service des crimes majeurs de la GRC. Je tiens également à souligner la présence parmi nous de maire du Portage-la Prairie, Sherilyn Knox. Today, Inspector Sean Pike will be speaking on the multiple arrests made in Portage-la Prairie in relation to child exploitation offenses by the Manitoba RCMP's Internet Child Exploitation Unit. Aujourd'hui, l'inspecteur Sean Pike parlera des multiples arrestations effectuées à Portage-la Prairie par le groupe de lutte contre l'exploitation des enfants dans l'Internet de la GRC du Manitoba, en rapport avec des infractions d'exploitation d'enfants. Following his remarks, there will be an opportunity to pose questions to Inspector Pike at the podium. Upon completion of the press conference, we have Staff Sergeant Cleland, Constable Hira, Constable Lang, and Mayor Sherilyn Knox who will be on hand for any questions you may have. Après son intervention, les participants auront l'occasion de poser des questions à l'inspecteur Pike. Après la conférence de presse, le sergent d'état-major Terry Cleland, Constable Hira, Constable Lang et le maire Sherilyn Knox se tiendront à votre disposition pour répondre à vos questions. Thank you. Merci. Inspector Pike.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Thank you for all coming today. The Manitoba RCMP's Internet Child Exploitation Unit does some of the hardest work you can imagine. These officers investigate crimes related to sexual exploitation of children via the Internet and otherwise. This includes the possession, accessing, distribution, importation, and production of child pornography, as well as dealing with physical sexual offenses. Between February the 2nd, 2024 and June the 4th, 2024, these dedicated RCMP investigators executed 10 search warrants and arrested 7 people in Portage-la Prairie, Manitoba in relation to child exploitation offenses. Between these 7 individuals, there are currently 65 charges, and the investigation is still ongoing. On February the 2nd, 2024, the RCMP in Portage-la Prairie were notified of a young girl seen around the city with older men. Officers were able to locate this female youth as well as an additional female youth who had been exploited in a human trafficking operation in Portage. The girls were both 15 years old at the time of the offenses. For obvious reasons, we will not be providing any information that could possibly identify these girls. Once able to speak with the youths, the officers continued investigating and discovered that an adult female had befriended the girls and offered them to hang out with some of her friends to get drugs and money. These girls trusted in this adult female and attended to residences with her between June of 2023 and December of 2023. When the youth arrived with the adult female, there would be an adult male present who would provide drugs in exchange for sexual acts. On many occasions, the youth were locked in the location by the adult female, who remained throughout the entire interaction. These youths were not able to escape. The youths were coerced into performing sexual acts to receive drugs and sometimes currency from the adult male. Additionally, the adult female would also receive payment in the form of drugs, including methamphetamine and cocaine. The exploitation included the adult males sending nude photos to the two youth and requiring photos of the two youth in return. Telecommunications between several of the males and the adult female took place via Snapchat or Facebook Messenger to groom or procure services from the exploited youths. When the search warrants were executed by the RCMP, officers seized computers and computer-related devices, including phones and external hard drives, as evidence in this investigation. Our digital forensic experts to this day continue to forensically examine these devices. During the execution of these warrants, officers also recovered drugs and 13 firearms. The firearms included rifles and shotguns. Charged in this investigation are Chastity Nicole Assiniboine, 43 years, from Long Plain First Nation. Sean Michael Bowick, 40 years, from Portage. David Guy Howard Taylor, 40 years, from Portage. Scott Joseph Taylor, 34 years old, from Portage. Wesley Clayton Roulette, 44 years, from Portage. Alexander Paul Lidster, 39 years, from Portage. And Frank Peter Justin Tiza, 39 years, from Portage. All the accused are known to each other and face a variety of charges, from human trafficking and child luring to firearm and drug-related offenses. A full list of these charges will be available on our website following the press conference. This was a fairly organized operation where the suspects used multiple platforms with the deliberate intent to exploit youths. Our investigators believe there are more survivors. Information has led our officers to know that a currently unidentified 13 or 14-year-old female was also exploited by this group. We ask anybody who knows anything about this operation or is a survivor of it to please call the ICE tip line at 204-984-3129. It's 204-984-3129 to get in touch with our investigators. Why we were able to disrupt this operation and support the two known survivors? The tragic reality is there is more of this. If you think it's not happening in your community, you are wrong. Youth of all ages, backgrounds, and life circumstances can be exploited and taken advantage of through the actions of adults. This is human trafficking. The two survivors were trafficked by an adult female in exchange for mostly methamphetamine and cocaine. These kids are getting hurt. Collectively, we all need to do our part to protect them. If you see something, say something. Some of the indicators that someone are being trafficked are they may not be able to explain circumstances or surroundings. They may not be allowed to speak on their own behalf. They may show signs of being controlled, intimidated, or afraid. They may show signs of abuse, such as bruises. They often go to places that are open 24 hours and have free Wi-Fi so they can connect with the trafficker. Unexpected behavior, such as a young person traveling alone at unusual times. People who don't have identification or money. And people who show fear of law enforcement as they've been told that they are the ones that are going to get in trouble. These arrests and charges I'm announcing here today are crucial. These two survivors can now get support and hopefully begin to heal. Dedicated officers in our detachments, our specialized units, and our ICE team do this work to help people, and today they can be very proud of their efforts that stopped two young girls from being further exploited. The entire RCMP are proud of their efforts. We will continue to enforce against those who exploit our children, and we ask anyone with any information on this investigation or any other incident to call us. Thank you.
Thank you, Inspector Pike. Merci. Bonjour à tous. Merci de votre présence aujourd'hui. Le groupe de la lutte contre l'exploitation des enfants dans l'Internet de la GRC du Manitoba accomplit des tâches parmi les plus difficiles qui soient. Ces agents enquêtent sur des crimes liés à l'exploitation sexuelle d'enfants sur Internet ou par d'autres moyens. Cela comprend la possession, la distribution, l'importation et la production de pornographie juvénile, l'accès à de la pornographie juvénile, ainsi que les infractions sexuelles avec contact physique. Entre le 2 février 2024 et le 4 juin 2024, ces enquêteurs spécialisés de la GRC ont exécuté 10 mandats de perquisition et arrêté 7 personnes à Portage-la-Prairie au Manitoba, en lien avec des infractions en matière d'exploitation d'enfants. Ces 7 personnes sont visées par 65 chefs d'accusation et l'enquête se poursuit. Le 2 février 2024, la GRC de Portage-la-Prairie a été informée qu'une jeune fille avait été vue avec des hommes plus âgés dans différents endroits de la ville. Les agents ont pu trouver la jeune fille ainsi qu'une autre jeune fille qui avait été exploitée dans le cadre d'activités de traite de personnes à Portage-la-Prairie. Les filles avaient toutes deux 15 ans au moment des infractions. Nous ne fournions aucun renseignement qui pourrait permettre d'identifier les filles. Après avoir pu parler aux jeunes filles, les agents ont poursuivi leur enquête et ont découvert qu'une femme adulte s'était liée d'amitié avec les filles et leur avait offert de passer des temps avec certains de ses amis pour se procurer de la drogue et de l'argent. Les filles ont fait confiance à cette femme adulte et se sont rendues dans des résidences avec elle entre juin 2023 et décembre 2023. Lorsque les jeunes filles arrivaient sur place avec les femmes adultes, un homme adulte était présent et il leur offrait de la drogue en échange d'actes sexuels. À de nombreuses reprises, les jeunes ont été retenus sur place par la femme adulte qui restait sur les lieux pendant toute l'interaction. Il leur était impossible de fuir. Les jeunes filles ont été contraintes à effectuer des actes sexuels pour recevoir de la drogue et parfois de l'argent de la part de l'homme adulte. La femme adulte recevait également un paiement sous la forme de drogue, y compris de méthamphétamine et de la cocaïne. Dans le cadre de l'exploitation, les hommes adultes envoyaient des photos de corps nus aux deux jeunes filles et exigeaient 2 photos d'elles. De plus, des télécommunications entre plusieurs des hommes et la femme adulte ont eu lieu par Snapchat ou Facebook Messenger pour préparer les jeunes filles ou obtenir des services de leur part. Lorsque les mandats de perquisition ont été exécutés par la GRC, les agents ont saisi des ordinateurs et des appareils informatiques, y compris des téléphones et des disques durs externes comme éléments de preuve aux fins de l'enquête. Nos experts en criminalistique numérique continuent d'examiner ces appareils de façon méthodique. Pendant l'exécution des mandats liés aux appareils, les agents ont également récupéré de la drogue et 13 armes à feu. Ces armes à feu comprenaient des carabines et des fusils de chasse. Voici la liste des personnes accusées dans cette affaire. Chastity Nicole Assiniboine, 43 ans, de la Première Nation de Long Plain. Sean Michael Boak, 40 ans, de Portage-la Prairie. David Howard Taylor, 40 ans, de Portage-la Prairie. Scott Joseph Taylor, 34 ans, de Portage-la Prairie. Wesley Roulette, 44 ans, de Portage-la Prairie. Alexander Paul Lidster, 39 ans, de Portage-la Prairie. Et Frank Justin Tiza, 39 ans, de Portage-la Prairie. Tous les accusés se connaissent et font face à divers chefs d'accusation qui vont de la traite de personnes et de leurs enfants à des chefs d'accusation liés aux armes à feu et à la drogue. Une liste complète des chefs d'accusation liés à toutes les personnes accusées se trouve sur notre site Web. Il s'agissait d'un réseau assez bien organisé dans lequel les suspects utilisaient délibérément de multiples plateformes dans un dessin d'exploitation et les enquêteurs croient qu'il y a d'autres survivants. De plus, les renseignements recueillis ont permis aux agents de savoir qu'une jeune fille de 13 ou 14 ans, encore non identifiée, a aussi été exploitée par ce groupe. Nous demandons à toute personne qui sait quelque chose au sujet de ce réseau ou qui a été victime de communiquer avec les enquêteurs en composant le 204-984-3129, qui est le numéro de la ligne d'aide en matière de lutte contre l'exploitation des enfants dans l'Internet. Bien que nous ayons pu mettre un terme aux activités de ce réseau et venir en aide aux 2 survivantes connues, la tragique réalité est que des crimes comme ceux-ci continuent d'être commis. Si vous pensez que cela ne se produit pas de votre communauté, vous avez tort. Peu importe leur parcours de vie, les jeunes de tous les âges et tous les milieux peuvent être exploités par les adultes qui veulent profiter d'eux. C'est de la traite de personnes. Ces 2 survivantes ont été exploitées par une femme d'adulte, principalement en échange du méthamphétamine et de cocaïne. Aux causes du tort à ces enfants, nous devons tout faire de notre part pour les protéger. Si vous voyez quelque chose, dites quelque chose. Voici certains des indices qui indiquent qu'une personne est victime de traite de personnes. Elle peut être incapable d'expliquer sa situation ou son environnement. Elle peut se voir interdire de parler en son nom. Elle peut sembler contrôlée, intimidée ou craintive. Elle peut montrer des signes de violence, comme des échymoses. Elle se rend souvent dans les lieux ouverts en tout temps et dotée d'une connexion Wi-Fi gratuite afin de pouvoir communiquer avec le trafiquant. Un comportement inattendu, tel que jeunes voyageant seuls à des heures inhabituelles. Les personnes qui n'ont pas de carte d'identité ou d'argent. Elle peut craindre les forces de l'ordre car on lui a dit qu'elle risque d'avoir des problèmes. Les arrestations et les chefs d'accusation que j'annonce aujourd'hui sont d'une très grande importance. Ces deux survivantes peuvent maintenant obtenir du soutien et, espérons-le, commencer leur processus de guérison. Les agents dévoués de nos détachements, de nos groupes spécialisés et de notre équipe de lutte contre l'exploitation des enfants dans l'Internet font ce travail pour aider les gens et aujourd'hui, ils peuvent être fiers de leurs efforts qui ont mis fin à l'exploitation qui subissait deux jeunes filles. Nous continuons de servir contre ceux qui exploitent nos enfants et nous demandons à ceux qui possèdent des renseignements liés à cette enquête ou à toute autre situation de nous téléphoner. Merci. Inspector Pike will now be available at the podium here if you have any questions. Sir?
Well, the investigation's still unfolding. The one unidentified person we're talking about, we are aware that that person is out there. As this investigation continues to unfold, is it possible that there's more than just one other person? Yes, it's possible. But I don't have an exact answer for as far as a number.
Can you?
Again, there's information that has the potential to identify anybody for these youths. We'll stay away from.
Can you give any information on how the woman befriended the girls?
The information I have, I don't want to say traditional means because it's probably the wrong way to say it, but it's about playing on vulnerabilities. It's about playing on wants. As you saw with our ICE unit being involved right out of the gate, there's a social media component to it. Then there's the face-to-face component of it. Trust is built up over time, and a lot of times it comes down to vulnerabilities. If it's somebody needs money, if somebody needs shelter, if somebody just is being made to feel important around a certain group of people. It's not an overnight process. There's a longer term element to some of that when you're grooming.
Can you say anything about where these incidents were happening? Are we talking about this happening in private dwellings or possibly in hotels or businesses or something to that effect?
It looks like it's in private residence. Yes. Without getting into the complete specifics of it, I can probably better just to tell you that it's a combination of all involved.
Were there any other police organizations involved in this? Maybe Winnipeg Police or police elsewhere in the province?
No, it's just multiple units and detachments with the RCMP at this point.
Can you comment on why it took, I think, 4 months or so for the girls to be found, or did it take that long?
Well, they're complex investigations, and you have to build up the case. The work that our people do, especially in units like the ICE unit, they're unfortunately not overnight turnarounds. There's a lot that goes on in the background before they get to the point of where we are today.
Can you please just speak about the importance of that initial tip that came in? Obviously, that led to the investigation and brought us all here today and helped these two victims. If you could just speak to that.
Sure, absolutely, that was key, and that goes right back to if you see something, say something. Let us know, because if that person doesn't reach out to somebody in the RCMP, we may not be aware of it. And unfortunately, this is a kind of crime that becomes vastly underreported because a lot of times you are counting on the person who's being victimized to come forward and have the courage and the strength. Meanwhile, a lot of times the whole objective of this is to take away that power from them. Again, I'm not sure how they self-identify. All I can tell you is what I've mentioned about the locations where they are from. There's nothing that I have that could say that. Again, it's in Portage la Prairie where this is happening. Again, like I was saying before early on, out of respect for their survivors in this and the fact that they're youth, we won't comment one way or the other on any backgrounds, education, schooling, anything like that. You're welcome. Yeah, for sure. I think I know what you mean. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, for them, and I'm not going to speak for them because I think that's probably disrespectful on my part, but in the big scheme of things, they're really at the beginning of a healing journey here. The RCMP have been involved in looking at facilities groups that can help. For example, Toba Center, there's a multidisciplinary team there that can assist with a wraparound approach with them, and that includes medical, child protection, psychological assessments, just being there. And that's just one of the things that we're looking at, because that's key, right? It's not just a matter of arrest and move on, and we're quite aware of that, and we make sure that we're putting efforts into that area. I think it becomes easier. It's easier for people to hide behind a computer, anonymously send something out. People feel a little more comfortable to do things maybe they wouldn't. But again, as to be more prevalent, that's a challenging one to answer because again, it's vastly underreported.
Were these suspects known to police, the accused in this case?
Like previous to this, you mean? Or? Yeah, we won't talk about anything that's going to be previous or not, but specifically, again, when it came to this file, obviously these names came to the forefront as our investigators were working. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, everyone. That'll conclude the press conference. As I mentioned earlier, if you have any questions for one-on-one with the mayor from Portage la Prairie or with the investigators, Staff Sergeant Terry Cleland, Constable Lang, Constable here, they are available. And if there's any French questions, I can meet with the reporters right away. Thank you.